Flight 447 was supposed to be routine. Just another Tuesday afternoon crossing from Denver to Miami. But when investigators found a handwritten note tucked into the seat pocket of 24B after an emergency landing, they uncovered a truth so disturbing it would shake the entire aviation industry. A passenger had seen something impossible, something that should never happen at 30,000 feet, and what they wrote down would save hundreds of lives. Before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please, like and subscribe for more videos like this. Marcus Webb fastened his seatbelt in seat 24 bytes and settled in for the 3-hour flight. He was a mechanical engineer returning home after a conference, tired but content. The plane was half empty, which meant he had the entire row to himself. As the aircraft taxied down the runway, Marcus pulled out his laptop, planning to finish some work reports. The engines roared to life, and within minutes they were airborne. Climbing steadily into the clear autumn sky, an hour into the flight, Marcus decided to stretch his legs. He closed his laptop and stood up, making his way toward the back of the plane. The restrooms were occupied, so he waited in the small galley area near the rear exit. That is when he noticed something strange. Through the small window in the emergency exit door, he could see part of the wing. And something was wrong. Very wrong. There was a thin stream of liquid trailing from the wing, a constant drip that formed a visible mist in the rushing air. Marcus pressed his face closer to the window, his engineering mind immediately analyzing what he was seeing. Hydraulic fluid. It had to be. The color, the consistency, the way it dispersed in the wind. His heart began to race. Hydraulic systems controlled everything critical on an aircraft. Flight controls, landing gear, brakes. A leak like this was not just concerning, it was potentially catastrophic. He returned to his seat quickly, his hands trembling slightly. Should he tell someone? Would they believe him? He was not a pilot, but he knew enough about mechanical systems to understand that this was serious. Marcus pressed the call button for the flight attendant. When she arrived, smiling pleasantly, he tried to explain what he had seen. She listened politely, nodded, and said she would inform the captain. But something in her expression told Marcus. She thought he was just another nervous passenger seeing problems where none existed. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. The plane continued flying normally. No announcement came from the cockpit. Marcus felt his anxiety growing. He stood up again and walked back to the galley, looked out the window once more. The leak was worse now. Much worse. The stream of fluid was heavier, more visible. How could they not know about this? He returned to his seat and did something he had never done before on a flight. He pulled out a piece of paper from his laptop bag and began to write. He wrote down everything. The exact location of the leak, his observations about the fluid type, his professional assessment of the danger, and most importantly, his calculations about how long the system might hold. He included his full name, his engineering credentials, his contact information. Then he wrote something else. If this plane crashes and I do not survive, please know that I tried to warn them. I saw the hydraulic leak at 14:32 Mountain Time. It is getting worse. Someone needs to check the port side wing, section 3, near the trailing edge. This is not panic. This is fact. Marcus folded the note and tucked it deep into the seat pocket in front of him, behind the safety card and magazine. Then he took out his phone, switched it to airplane mode, and began recording a video message for his wife and 2 daughters, just in case. His voice was steady as he explained how much he loved them, but his hands shook as he held the phone. At 15:17, the plane shuddered. It was subtle at first, a slight vibration that most passengers probably attributed to turbulence. But Marcus knew better. The hydraulic system was failing. He gripped his armrests and waited. The shuddering grew worse. Then came the announcement everyone dreads. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are experiencing a mechanical issue and will be making an emergency landing in Tulsa. Flight attendants, prepare the cabin." The next 20 minutes were the longest of Marcus Webb's life. The plane descended rapidly, the pilot struggling to maintain control with degraded hydraulics. Passengers around him were crying, praying, holding hands with strangers. Marcus sat perfectly still, his engineering mind calculating angles of descent, imagining the pilots fighting with unresponsive controls. He thought about his note in the seat pocket. Would anyone ever read it? The landing was rough but successful. The plane hit the runway hard, bounced once, then settled. The emergency brakes screamed as the aircraft descended. Fire trucks raced alongside them, foam already spraying. When the plane finally stopped, the cabin erupted in applause and tears. They had made it. They were alive. But Marcus Webb did not celebrate. As passengers filed off the plane, shaken but safe, he approached a flight attendant. He told her about the note in seat 24B. He insisted she tell the investigators. She promised she would, probably just to calm him down. Marcus walked off that plane knowing he had done everything he could, but wondering if it would matter. The investigation began immediately. The National Transportation Safety Board sent a team to examine the aircraft. They found the hydraulic leak exactly where Marcus had described it. A fatigue crack in a high-pressure line, a manufacturing defect that had gone undetected for months. The leak had been severe. If the flight had been just 30 minutes longer, or if the pilots had been less skilled, the outcome would have been very different. The plane would have lost all hydraulic pressure, making it nearly uncontrollable. When investigators entered the aircraft to document everything, one of them checked seat 2 for B. Behind the safety card, he found Marcus Webb's note. He read it carefully, then read it again. The precision of the observations, the accuracy of the technical details, the times. This passenger had known exactly what was happening while everyone else was unaware. The investigator immediately contacted Marcus. What happened next was unprecedented. The NTSB included Marcus Webb's observations in their official report. They praised his technical knowledge and his persistence in trying to warn the crew. But more importantly, they used his case to push for changes. The agency issued new guidelines requiring flight crews to take passenger reports of mechanical issues more seriously, especially when those passengers have relevant technical expertise. They also mandated more frequent inspections of hydraulic systems on that aircraft model. The airline that operated Flight 447 grounded its entire fleet of that aircraft type for immediate inspections. They found similar fatigue cracks in 11 other planes. 11 planes that were flying passengers every single day, all with the same hidden defect. All ticking time bombs waiting for the wrong moment to fail. Those planes were repaired immediately. The manufacturer issued a global safety directive. Airlines around the world inspected their fleets. Marcus Webb's note, that simple piece of paper tucked into a seat pocket, had potentially saved hundreds of lives. But he never sought attention for it. When reporters tracked him down, He gave only one brief interview. He said something that stuck with everyone who heard it. "I am not a hero. I am just an engineer who saw a problem and tried to solve it. What frightens me is how close we came to disaster because no one believed the problem was real. We need to listen better. We need to trust what we see, even when it is uncomfortable." The flight attendant who Marcus had first alerted later admitted she had dismissed his concerns. She thought he was just anxious, another nervous flyer imagining worst-case scenarios. She had informed the captain, but without urgency, without emphasis. The captain had noted it in his log, but took no immediate action, assuming his instruments would detect any serious problem. Both of them lived with that knowledge afterward. Both of them became advocates for changing how airlines handle passenger safety reports. Flight 447 became a case study in aviation safety courses, not because of what went wrong mechanically, but because of what went wrong in communication. A passenger had identified a critical failure before it became catastrophic, but the system was not designed to take such warnings seriously. That note in seat 24B proved that sometimes the most important safety equipment on a plane is not the technology. It is the awareness and knowledge of the people on board. Marcus Webb went back to his normal life, back to his work as an engineer, back to his family. But he never flew without thinking about that day. And every time he boarded a plane, he looked out the window at the wings, checking, always checking, because he knew the truth that most passengers never consider. These machines that carry us through the sky are marvels of engineering, but they are also complex systems where a single hidden flaw can mean the difference between landing safely and never landing at all. The note still exists, preserved in NTSB archives, a reminder that vigilance matters, that expertise matters, that speaking up matters, even when you think no one is listening, especially when you think no one is listening. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.